welcome to the Confident on Camera Summit. From mindset to makeup and everything you need to hit go live now. This summit is all about empowering you to be confidently stepping in front of the camera and making your presence known and getting your message out. Hi, I'm Joanne Dodon. As a proud mom of two grown boys and someone that is really deeply connected to nature, to health sciences, and to entrepreneurship, I really understand what it feels like and what it means to feel good in our skin. I help professional women find simple, natural routines and practices for their body, their mind, and their business. So let's make a deal today. Commit to taking one action after you watch this video and put it in practice and watch yourself transform the way that you think about being on camera. I created a convenient workbook as well where you could see all of the speakers, the dates that they're presenting, the topics, their key points, their contact information, and the link to their free gift. So you could get access to this through the VIP All Access Pass, and it's a great tool to have for the summit. So I hope you get that because it's really useful. So anyway, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another amazing interview with one of our expert speakers on the Confident on Camera Summit. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Mila Johansen. And the topic of our talk today is Get Over It, Poof, you're a speaker. Welcome, Mila, to the summit. So happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Joanne. I'm honored to be here.
Awesome. So in order for our viewers to get to know you a little bit, I'd like to read your bio. Okay, I'll start off with that. So Mila Johansen is a public speaking, writing, and publishing coach. She is the best-selling author of 12 books, including From Cowgirl to Congress, Journey of a Suffragist on the Front Lines. This is the first-person account from Jessie Haver Butler, Mila's grandmother, who put together the Pulitzer's School of Journalism, was the first woman lobbyist in DC, and taught public speaking to Eleanor Roosevelt. Mila also has several more books in progress and loves to write and produce short screenplays. She has developed the short book concept, giving people all over the world permission to write their short book first. Wow, welcome, Mila. I'm sure you have amazing stories to tell.
Oh, yeah, especially for my grandmother. She was a great storyteller, and I would ask her to tell me the stories over and over again. And and then I'm the archivist of the family, so they sent me her three tall file cabinets. And then when I was older, it took me a while. I started looking through them, and I found her memoir that she had written and tried to get published. And so I took it and cut it from 600 pages to 300 pages. This is it from
Wow.
Cal
Yeah.
Congress, and it has even like invitations with her and Eleanor Roosevelt, and stuff with George Bernard Shaw, and oh, it was amazing, all the things she
I bet. I bet. What a legacy. That is so amazing. It's inspiring.
Yeah, in her early 90s she took me along when she spoke several times in Hollywood with Gloria Steinem, Marlo Thomas, and Jane Fonda. And so she taught all those people to speak, and then she taught me later. So
Wonderful. So, Mila, your journey as a professional speaker and teacher is incredibly inspiring. Could you share with us how you became a speaker and share some pivotal moments that helped you gain confidence and excel in public speaking?
well, I wasn't a very good speaker in the beginning, and when I went to college, my grandmother knew the head of the speech department, and she got me on the speech team. And I wasn't very good. We went around to different colleges and competed.
Whoops, you just broke up a little bit there. You're
And
going to have to just
I think I
repeat.
was really bad. Sure. And then I took debate because in debate, sorry, it's having, oh yeah. So I took debate and I was very good on the debate team because I could argue. And so then I wanted to be like my grandmother because I was with her all the time and she would be speaking and I loved doing that. And I thought I should be a speaker. And it took me a while. And then I started, doing talks and learning talks. And here's the secret to speaking. The more you speak, the more you speak. There's a quick hack to be comfortable. Let me tell you what it is. I learned this from someone online, even though I'm already comfortable. And I speak on one or two podcasts a week or
Okay.
summits for the last 3 years because when my grandmother's book came out, it came out in March of 2020. I wanted it done for the 100th anniversary on August 18th when women finally won the right to vote in 1920. And COVID hit. And I thought I'd be speaking in my own area, 100-mile radius, Washington, D.C., where she worked and was the first woman lobbyist, and maybe London, where she worked for 8 years with George Bernard Shaw and all kinds of other people. And so I couldn't go anywhere. So I had to reinvent myself and I had to learn Zoom and all the tech, and I didn't know a lot. And so I took all these classes with people like Iman and just amazing mentors. And I learned Zoom, and then I started getting on podcasts right away. People started asking me. I found podcast sites to go on, and that's the thing. Just find out your subject. Everybody's looking for you. They want to know your subject. And so I
Hmm.
started speaking once or twice a week. I still am, as I'm here today. And I love that. And I recently heard, this is something to know because the more you speak, the more you speak. I recently went to an event. There's only like 25 or 30 of us on Zoom with John Gray, James Redfield, and Victor Hansen from Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Hmm.
And Victor said when he started doing one of his books, he wasn't just speaking, 3 or 4 times a week. He was speaking 3 or 4 times a day on podcasts. So that's something you can do. And a way to get over if you have any trepidation or fear that I was taught by a mentor, which I thought was really good, was go onto YouTube. And if you don't have a YouTube site, make one, they're free. And do 10 2-minute talks about things you already know.
Okay.
But yeah, whatever that is. If you're talking about trauma, give us little hacks to get over it and what's going on, and maybe the psychology. One of the big subjects right now is caregiving. Another one, you're not going to believe it, is clutter. So you just talk about your subject or anything maybe stories from your grandmother, anything for 2 minutes, do 10 of them. And then get rid of the ones you don't like because you can just record them straight onto YouTube. And
Hmm.
after you've done 10, you will have unraveled your tongue and you'll be way more comfortable.
Ah, such a good idea. I love it. Very nice. We'll definitely have to try that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So you have an impressive repertoire, including writing plays and screenplays, novels, and teaching various subjects like social media and herbology. How do you manage to balance these diverse creative pursuits? And what advice would you give the inspiring writer or speaker who struggles with confidence and maybe keeping all of that together?
Well, I think the main thing is to dedicate yourself to the work, and maybe divide your day up. In the morning, I'm going to write, and because it's good to have a book to speak. You don't need a book to speak from because there's a secret. You know your material, so you're fine with that. But maybe write in the morning, maybe reach out to people and network, for the late morning, maybe in the afternoon when we're a little lazy and need a nap, then we do our research and write our letters and things like that. So you could divide up your day, or you could divide up your days where Monday I'm doing writing,
Okay.
Tuesday I'm working on getting speaking gigs, or whatever it is. I kind of divide my time up. I kind of go back and forth and move around because that's what keeps you fresh. Then I'll go do the dishes. Okay. Then I'll go do some watering. Keep yourself fresh, and then I do a lot of time off. I walk every day. If I walk 20 minutes, I get tremendous energy and I
Hmm.
get braver. It makes me braver because sometimes I don't act like it, but I'm shy on reaching out to people. And so there's a lot of tricks you can do for yourself, but the main thing is exercise
Hmm.
every day, I think, and get your vitamins and then keep working on it. I when I was young, I grew up in a very poor family in gangland, and my brother didn't make it out, and I was kind of goofy, so no one, I got through it unscathed, and I had my grandmother, and but we had nothing to do. There were none of those children's programs we have all over, gymnastics and everything. There was nothing. And so I grew up and I decided I never wanted to be bored again, so I'd rather be too busy. So don't be afraid
Ah,
to be too busy. I mean, look at Victor Hansen doing 3 or 4 podcasts a day, and just go for it. Don't hold back. Don't save yourself. George Bernard Shaw, that my grandmother spoke all over London with. She was a speaking partner. She ended every speech of hers when she was older with a quote from him. And I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not sure what the quote is. But he said, when life is over and you're finished, if there's anything left of you at all on the scrap heap, you weren't worth anything. That's paraphrased. But what he means is, let's spend it all. Let's do it. Let's not be afraid. You know what I mean?
mm, absolutely. Like sometimes, people get this idea of burnout and of, overwhelm and things like that. So it almost sounds like what you're saying is if you're doing something that you enjoy, those things don't exist.
It's true. And you may come up to a little overwhelmed, like maybe there's too many opportunities. So do that. Divide your day. That I think, I'm going to do this in the morning. I'm going to do this in the late morning. And I think that will help you a little if you're one of those. I work better if I'm just sort of all over the place because it beehives and keeps me going.
Hmm.
But other people aren't. I mean, everybody has their own personality. So you don't want to crash, that's for sure. But I don't think you should be afraid of that. I think you should do more. I mean, here's how I say to write books, okay? Here's the secret to writing books.
Okay.
Just start. What's her name? Toni Morrison, the famous author. She said that, and I love to inspire people with this, that for her first book, she wrote it in 15 minutes a day because that's all the time she had between raising children and working. But, then she was famous and put out lots of books, and Barbara Kingsolver gives us the best wisdom. She says, give yourself permission to write a bad book. And what she means is blather it down and then work on it until it's a good book. Because I meet people all the time that are my clients and people I'm working with that I'm teaching. And they say, but I want to get it right in the beginning. I want to make it perfect. I'll do my research, but don't do that. Write it down. There's a mentor I have at Comic-Con every year in San Diego. And he said, and I love this, and I quote him every class I teach. He said that he writes from 8 to 12 every day. That's what Isaac Asimov did. I'm sure he knew that, but he didn't say that he was copying him. And for those 20 minutes a day, he doesn't allow himself to do any any research or editing, only new writing. And so I tell people, if you're doing 20 minutes a day, make that your rule. So it's kind of like that with everything. And if you want to speak, reach out and start getting on podcasts. There's so many people doing podcasts now that they're looking for you. And to be inspired, John Gray said he'll be on anybody's podcast. If it's 5 people, 20 people, 200 people, he'll do every podcast he's asked to do. And he's super famous. He wrote Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, but
Right.
he'll still do that.
Wow, imagine that. That's amazing. You think that the famous people, once they're done, they're done. But it just says that it's ingrained, right? And you want to share. So it's an inspiration. It's almost their energy system. They get their energy from it almost.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. So your book about your grandmother, we talked about that a little earlier. So Jesse Haver, that's Haver,
It
right?
is
Butler?
Haver. It
Haver?
is Haver.
It's
Huh?
Haver? Okay, Butler. As and her suffragette journey is truly captivating. How has her legacy influenced your own work in writing and public speaking? And what lessons from her life do you find more relevant for women today aiming to make their mark in the digital world?
Yes, she wrote books, and she wrote a book called Time to Speak Up, the one she spoke all over the US with. And she didn't know how to write books. A teacher said, we need speaking book for women. And it's still good. You can find it on Amazon. Time to Speak Up. It's an old book, but I read it, and it's still the precepts that I teach. I teach exactly how she taught. She taught like Toastmasters. One of the best ways for you to get over any fear that you have on speaking is join your local Toastmasters group, and you will get
Mm.
over it fast, and you will become polished. You will learn from everyone. To me, that's the best advice I can actually give, to be honest, besides start speaking, start getting on podcasts. But
Mhm.
I was with her all the time because my mother was a little AWOL. She was a teacher, but she was sick, so she was in bed a lot. So I did all the housework. But my grandmother took me around with her and taught me, and I'd see her writing, and she'd tell me this thing. I'd be in bed, and I'm all comfortable, and suddenly I get a thought, and I'm on my feet before I know it. And I'm kind of like that. I wake up at 5:30, I get on my feet, and I'm off. I do my walking first so I have energy, and then I just get on and answer some emails. And I start with clients or writing, whatever's going on for the day. And she inspired me by being with her, and then I followed her around when she spoke all the time, and I wanted to be a speaker. I just thought it was the best thing. I've been an actress on stage, but speaking, you can almost make more of a difference speaking than just about anything. Writing a book too. So if you write a book, even a short book, the shortest book you can put on Amazon with a spine is 36 pages. So if you just, anybody could write a 36-page book in a day or two, work on it for a week, get it edited, put it up in a week or two, and then you've got your little flag. This is mine. I wrote in a weekend, 70 pages, and I gave away 5,000 of these before I put it in a book when I was speaking. Because every time you go on a podcast or a summit, they want a gift. We have a gift for you today.
Yes, of course.
So I gave away 5,000 of these. Then I made it into a book. And now every time I work with a client, I mail it to them. And it's my flag. And when people read it, they go, oh my God, she knows what she's talking about. So that's what my grandmother did. But it's funny. I didn't realize I wrote the grandma. I got her book in order. I published it. And I didn't realize till I was teaching people how to write the short book to become the expert that is what she did in 1946. She did it way ahead of all of us doing it. Isn't that amazing? And I didn't realize that until I was teaching it, and I went back and read it in her book.
Wow. So there are certain things like, okay, maybe the technology changed. I could imagine her typing on a typewriter, for example, right? And now today we're sort of speaking to our devices. There's a huge, huge difference in technology. But I guess when it comes to inspiration and sharing thoughts and in the structure maybe of a story or a book, that stays the same and it doesn't change.
It's true, and a lot of people I'm working with, I'm having them just speak their story into Zoom and then get the transcript, which comes out really messy. But then you can turn it into a book. A lot of people are doing that right now. I'm working on Dr. L's book, and he did a summit. Where is his book? And he did a summit, and everybody in the summit were taking their talks and putting it into a book. And
Oh.
so that's a way to do it too, and a lot of people I'm teaching them take your transcripts from podcasts, like what you can do
Mhm.
yours, and people taking their master thesis and make books out of those. And then because master thesis really shows your expertise, and then you've got your little flag to wave, and your
Yeah.
calling card. I give this to everybody. Anybody who wants it, here you go. And then it has all my programs inside. You can sign up with me, but it's full. Guess what? Full of value.
There you
That
go.
is the main thing, is to give, that. Give tons of value. And the gift I'm going to give everyone today, what you can do is just listen to it, and it kind of goes through everything. It goes through everything you'll ever need to know. I go through tech. I have a light here. I have a microphone and a camera. And I think online is different from offline. Now, one thing I want you to know is there are so many women's groups and book clubs in your own neighborhood that you can speak to in person. Now, when I speak in person, I sell my book for a lot more money. And I spoke to a beautiful group of women, 40 women at a luncheon at a country club last year, and I sold a book to every single person there. 40
Wow.
books right off the bat. That's really the best way to make book sales. But also that you don't have to have a book to make those talks, but they're looking for speakers. They can't find enough speakers. And then of
Hmm.
course you want to try to get your TED Talk in. So you can go to tedtalk.com, and I think they list TED Talks, and then you need to apply and do everything they say, exactly how they say it. And don't be disappointed when you don't get your first 3, 4, 5. Just keep plugging along and get that first TED Talk. Make sure you're feeling comfortable on your talking, but they'll help you too. They actually train you in the TED Talks. So there's just a lot of opportunity out there. So much that don't let anything stop you. Start speaking, because guess what? Poof, you're a speaker.
Yeah, I love that. And I guess I was wondering, do we still need one sheets? Or maybe describe what that is, because maybe some people don't know.
Sure. A one sheet is a little while back before COVID hit and everything, we were making one sheet. So it's like if you go onto Google and you say examples of one sheets, you'll get like hundreds of them. And then you can kind of see what you like and what you'd like yours to look like. That's how I do my research for books and book covers too.
Mm.
Or how about subjects to talk about? Like talk subjects have to kind of be sparky and alarming and surprising now, because there's so many talks out there. If you're speaking at a summit, you want your talk to stick out so everybody comes. So things like that. But to one sheets, it's a sheet with your picture and list of what talks you do, all your contact information, maybe your bio, but look at other people's one sheets to learn how to do them. They used to be called one sheet, but they are called one sheets, but they used to have two sides because we were passing them out in person. Now we're mainly doing online. So you probably only need one page. You can do 2 pages and they'll come up together. And you want to make it real professional, because let's say you want to be someone who speaks and gets paid, like maybe at corporations or be a keynote speaker. They will want your one sheet. They're going to want information about you.
Okay.
And yeah, so in some ways we need one sheets, in other ways we don't. So I would say do it all. It's real estate. Make your one sheet and have it in case someone says, can I have
Yeah.
one?"
Yeah, it's better than having to do it like, I need it for Friday kind of idea, and then you're rushed.
And you
Um,
can get them done for really cheap on Fiverr. There's really good Fiverr with 2 R's. That's where we get a lot of our covers made, a lot of things. But there are people on there who will specifically make one sheets for you that are beautiful for like maybe $25.
oh, that's neat. Neat. So then, yeah, so as we still have a lot of time, but I was going to ask you if you were going to leave one single action today for our listeners, and I guess related to confidence on camera, related to speaking and getting our voice out there, what would it be?
I think it would be to start speaking, because you'll unravel your tongue, you'll get confident. And I think, start with those 10 YouTubes, 10 Zoom calls. You can just do it on Zoom. And then the main thing about speaking, there's a few points. I have a 10-point list that my grandmother taught. The main thing is to practice. Practice, and don't memorize your speech. What you really need are bullet points. This is how my bullet points look for a talk.
Okay.
And, and then I put it right here, and then I can remember, oh yeah, I want to tell them about Rich in college, or whatever. And usually about 2/3 down the bullet sheet, it can be a short one or a long one, and that they should be short things you can just glance at and read. Because if you memorize your speech, it's death to a speech. So you want to really have a bullet list and kind of go by it. And usually with me, 2/3 down, I'll lose my way, but still my talk turns out well and it started out well. So don't ever chastise yourself for not mentioning certain things. Never have I done a speech where I put in every single point I wanted to.
Okay, so that talks maybe to the perfectionists that sort of, and I know when I started off, I needed to do that. I was reading everything. And okay, I tried to make it as natural as possible, but still I was reading, right? And I guess that may be part of it to get that confidence and knowing. And then at one point, I sort of, so I had to leave that aside. But what would you say about that? Like, do you start off maybe by reading?
Well, yeah, don't. I mean, you can read, and if you're going to do that and you're online, then pin it right up here where you can just read it and try to be natural.
Right.
But try to start speaking about things you know. Because if you know,
Mm.
like with my grandmother, I know her story so well now. I start with her childhood, then I go to Smith College, then she put together the Polish School of Journalists, then she set the first minimum wage for women, then she was the lobby. So I kind of go through this, so I can tell those stories because I heard her tell them for, all my life. And I don't tell them as well as her. She was a master storyteller, but I tell them, and people just flip out when I speak, especially in person. And I've spoken to many groups online, and I have a PowerPoint to go with it. Now, some people will let you do PowerPoints, and some won't. So some people, but okay, here's the big deal. If you're going to speak on a summit or podcast like, and they offer you to either be interviewed or just give them a pre-recording, choose the interview.
Mm.
Because if you choose the interview, you're always going to be comfortable. You're going to be bouncing off someone. They're going to fill in a lot for you. And so that's what I would say. Why don't you start doing some podcasts and summits where you're being interviewed? Then it's not as challenging or
Mm.
intimidating.
Right, because you sort of have a partner there that's going to, help you out, like you said, and fill in certain things, gives you time to think. Right?
As many speeches as I've done, I always choose the interview because it's more interesting to the listeners as well, I believe. And some,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, some people sometimes they say, here, we're going to put you on for half an hour talk. So that's okay. I can do that too. Then I have my bullet list.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I like the bullet list because, yes, it's to, maybe the sequence or the things you want to cover, so it makes sense. It makes sense to do it that way. So
Because you
now,
already know your material, Joanne. It's like you just put the points down and you go, oh yeah, I want to talk about 5 cents was a lot. When I was young, we didn't even have a nickel in our pocket. Then you go on because you know your stuff. Oh,
yes.
one more thing. If you're giving a talk of something you don't know, then just research it and really know that too.
Mm,
Like sometimes people will say, well, I know you want to talk about this, but will you add this in? And then I research and then I really make sure I know it well. You know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely. Because yes, nobody just wants to have somebody just read out something, that they found. It's important that, you research it, but you also understand it, and maybe question it and look at it in different ways. Yes, I totally agree with that.
Well, and that's why you probably want to start with things you really know.
Mhm.
Like if you're a trauma expert, let's talk about trauma. If you're an exercise expert, let's talk about exercise and stick to what you know to begin with. Say that with writers too. Write what you know at the
Mm.
beginning anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get that. So now you're offering a free gift. Can you talk to us about that?
I'm what? Say it again,
You're
sorry.
offering a free gift.
Oh yes, yes. I'm actually giving you one of my speech classes, and
Oh,
it's a sort of a relaxed class I taught, but it has everything in it. I show you how to do one sheets. I show you how to the equipment to use, and actually I think the list comes with it, where to get the podcast and the equipment. And actually, a lot of people see it and then they sign up to work with me because I coach people on their TED Talks. I coach people on speaking all over, all kinds of talks, even how to get podcasts and how to get your tech ready. But anyway, it goes through all of it. It goes through all the aspects. It's my signature class I teach
hmm.
that I teach like 2 or 3 times a year. And people really like it. They get a lot out of it. I took the people in the class out so that it's a little shorter than a regular class I would teach.
Okay, okay. No, that's excellent. Thank you so much. And when you're talking about the tech, like you're talking about the lighting, maybe the camera and things like that?
Right. And then maybe making a virtual background, like my virtual background here.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's also I also teach, there's these beautiful sheets. If you're looking at that wall, it's a ocean scene with palm trees. And it's a vinyl 5 tall, 10 wide that you put on walls. So let's say if you wanted to be a speaker online, and you're going to anyway, all of us are. So I've taken a room and I put a different one, like one is a garden, and one's the ocean. And then I put different ones behind me. And then if you have like a newer PC or Mac, then you can just put virtual scenes in your Zoom, and you can put up to 20, I think.
Mm,
And so I have different ones on here, and then or else you can set up. A lot of people are saying don't use virtual ones because your hands and everything disappear. But if you use a green screen, your hands don't disappear. So there's a lot of tricks like that. And then a lot of people are putting up, like, I really want to find a bookshelf behind me so I can put all the books up that I've been working on with people. But I can't find one, so I'm using a virtual screen today. Sometimes I
Right.
have books, I put up books behind me, or people will put up the name of their company behind them, the makeup and
Yes.
you
Yes.
know. So there's a lot you can do. But I would start speaking. I think the main thing is to just start, just reach out and do as many as you can, and don't think about it too much. Just kind of speak about things you know to begin with. Then you can
Hmm.
reach out and do other things if you want. Pretty much I speak about what I know. I have like several subjects. How to make homeschool fun and easy.
Okay.
Publishing your short book as easy as one, two, three. I don't know if those are good titles or not, but my journey from poverty to abundance, and two women, two errors, surviving, or something about me and my grandmother. I can't remember the name really, but I have like about five really good topics that I can speak about.
Okay, so I guess, and those are books you said, right?
No, those are speaking titles.
No, speaking titles. Okay, okay, because I was wondering, I said maybe if you write a book, then that's a subject that you could speak on for a very long time.
Yes, in fact, but you might want to have different aspects. You may still want to have five titles, and everybody's a Jill or Jack of all trades. So you don't want to, maybe, if you do want to, okay, so you're on trauma. Trauma is a big subject right now. I'm learning with a lot of
Right.
people working with me, and then like this woman here, she just is writing this book with me, and she's talking about hate fundraising. She wrote a book called Hate Football. So she goes, I don't know if I want to write these hate books. I go, I know, but it will get you attention because all the titles are taken now. So,
Uh,
so this book is coming out next week, and she's going to be speaking all about it because she's helped many, many people fundraise and get over their fear of asking for money.
mm,
And so that will be her subject that she wants to go around and talk about. So, you may have multiple subjects. You may want to stick to one subject and just be the expert in that field.
right. Oh, thank you so much. So, any final thoughts on confidence on camera? I think what you're saying there, though, is that confidence, it seems to be very important to speak about what we know and speak, and that will bring confidence automatically because you know what you're talking about.
Yes, yes, because if you're going to do a real speech, not just an interview and all this stuff, like those are great, everything's perfect. But
Mhm.
you're going to have, your opening, your body of your speech, and your closing. And so you want to think about that. And I often open and close with a quote from somebody because that ties me to someone
Ah,
famous. Like
okay.
I usually end with Oprah, we have to reinvent ourselves until the end. And my grandmother would always end a talk with a quote. So you want to just kind of
Yeah.
know your material. And let's say you're going to give a talk, like a TED talk or something, then you're going to do the real speaking format.
Mhm, mhm. And
So,
that's training. That I could see as a formal process and a formal training to deliver a speech within a certain period of time based on rules and regulations, right?
yeah, but don't be afraid of that. And remember, if you join Toastmasters, you learn all of that right
There
in
you go.
Toastmasters. Yeah, and they have an impromptu little section. They'll say, okay, you're going to speak for 2 minutes on technology, and you may not know anything about technology. So you go, well, technology is not my strength, but what my strength is gardening, or something. So you go on for 2 minutes. So yeah, yeah. So that's interesting. That's what John Gray said. John Gray said, when people ask me questions, he goes, and they're not the questions I gave them to ask, or I don't want to answer those today. He goes, I'll say that's a good question. Then he'll switch and bait and go to what he wants to really talk about. So I thought that was interesting,
Absolutely. No, that's yeah, that's the way to do it because you're not gonna just go like, I don't know. It's here, you just turn it into a conversation and say like, change it up. It's all good. So as we're wrapping up now, Mila, where can people reach you?
Oh yeah, go to my website, milajohansen.com. and you can see all my programs. And a lot of people are signing up with me to work once a week, either on speaking or writing, and we're getting a lot done. I just helped 8 people publish their books in the last 6 months, and I helped 2 or 3 people get their speaking careers going. And so I love doing that. I'm a teacher because I'm come from a family of teachers, so I love teaching. And then my other one is, so it's milajohansen.com, or my email is best to get a hold of me, and that's backwards. It's johansenmila@gmail.com.
Perfect. Again, thank you so much for all of that information and all of that wisdom and vision and inspiring thoughts about the past and how we could still implement it in today's world. So that's amazing.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope we get a chance to talk again soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for being with us on this interview. I hope that you found the insights and tips valuable and useful. And remember, the key to building confidence on camera is to do it one step at a time. Implement the action item that resonated with you, that you found that you could use, and start seeing the difference in no time, I'm sure. And because I did it as well, and I find myself different, working differently on camera. So it does work. So don't miss out on the upcoming interviews either. We're going to continue to bring the experts in their fields. They're going to be giving more tips, more advice, and it's really useful. So each interview is packed with all of that, and it's overcoming the fear, embracing your unique beauty, going within, and being able to hit that go live and not shake about it. So stay tuned and keep moving forward on your journey to being confident on camera. This is great for yourself personally and also for your business to attract the clients that you want. So stay tuned and see you on the next interview.